What's going on, drivers? Welcome to Trucking with Old Snapper. I'm your host, Old Snapper. In this video, we're going to talk about a driver who got murdered a couple months ago, and his body was found on the side of the road. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the dangers of co-drivers, trainers, training, all that kind of stuff. First off, let me do the cleanup. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. We do everything here trucking related, and it's always my lovely voice. Anyway, let's jump off into this. There was a CRST, and the article doesn't say whether it was a team or a co-driver. Because CRST requires their drivers either to be trainers or to team, one of the two. It's a requirement over at CRST. I don't believe they have any solo drivers, and I know years ago when I talked to them, they didn't hire solo drivers back then. So anyway, I never worked there though. There was a driver by the name of Garcia who had come up missing, and his body was found by a cleaning crew in Indiana on I-65. Well, his co-driver was arrested a few days later in Arlington, Texas. He was under a load headed back to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Turned out his co-driver killed him and dumped him on the side of the road on I-65 in Indiana. To this day, so far, they're unsure of why, what happened. I'm sure it was, we all know it was an argument, but they're unsure of the details of it. And Time released a article about it, which I'll link down in the description below if you'd like to go check it out and read it for yourself. But drivers, this is something that's serious, and it's something that happens more often than people realize. There was a Warner driver who was murdered by his trainer, years back, I think 7 or 8 years ago. They found him on I-35. He was actually still in the sleeper. They pulled the truck over, and the trainer was dead in the sleeper. And from what I remember, I believe that student had ridden with that body in the sleeper for a day or two. And any of y'all have ever been around a dead body, they begin to decompose pretty quickly. And blood all goes to one side of the body pretty quickly. I mean, a body gets pretty nasty fast. It doesn't take long. But and there was a situation at I want to say it was Heartland Express, where there was a situation similar to that, but I'm unsure of that one. I'm unsure of. I know whenever I worked at Stevens, when I went through training, you went out with a beginning trainer for 3 weeks. You came back, you did a second orientation. Then you went out with a finishing trainer for another 3 weeks. Then you came back, you tested out, then you got into a truck. Whenever I started becoming a trainer, they changed the training program up. So students went out with a beginning trainer for like 4 or 5 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks. Then they would go back, do OR2, and then they would go out with another student for the second part of their training. I know this sounds dumb as hell. We called it Dumb and Dumber because neither one of them knew what they were doing yet, And when Stevens kicked that program off, there was a lot of problems. There was a lot of fights. I even believe someone got stabbed at some point, but there was a lot of fights. I tell you what was even funnier, man. I was sitting through a class up there one time, and they were showing a video from a place down in Waco that we delivered to, and I don't remember the name of the customer. I want to say it was Michelangelo's or something like that, but I'm not positive. But it was a student, Dumb and Dumber, and they were trying to back into this dock. Now, mind you, they're the only ones there. There's no one else around. No one. And any of you that ever worked for Stevens may remember this video because they showed it for years. But there was no one else. They were the only truck there. They get assigned the first dock. right next to shipping and receiving. They pull in, and I don't know how long it took them because they sped the video up, but you can see a camera. They got a camera in a parking lot, and it's looking down at the docks, and you see them come into view and out of view. Well, one student tries it, I don't know, 8 or 9 times, nowhere near the dock. I mean, like, sometimes 2 docks away, nowhere near it. Sideways, all kinds of crap. He jumps out. These two argue in front of the truck. The other one gets in the truck, and he starts trying to do it. He can't get it. Then you see the shipping and receiving, or the warehouse people or whatever. You see one of them come out, and they tell them to get in whatever dock they can get in. Doesn't matter, just get in one. And then you see them do it for another 8 or 9 times, and I think they swap again. Finally, they get into a dock, like 2 or 3. It wasn't one, but they finally got into a dock. When you got 2 people that are still learning, and they're in situations, high stress situations like that, because I'm sure, even though we're laughing at it, and y'all are probably laughing right now, that was a high stress situation for them, if you get what I'm saying. So it very easily could have turned into a fight. Oh, your trainer didn't teach you, you don't know what you're doing, or, you know, it very easily could have escalated a situation like that. And there were a lot of situations like that did escalate. I just made a video within the last couple of weeks about a student that I had that got really out of line, and that situation almost got bad. One of the other trainers that I knew had a student where a situation did get bad. He didn't get stabbed or shot, but it got physical. Then there's the other way around. Like, one time I went to the yard to get this student. He had been on another trainer's truck, and they just pulled him off for whatever reason. I didn't know and didn't care. But I show up there to get him, pick him up, and we take off. The first day I normally drove, and then let them get settled in and used to the truck and used to me and all that kind of stuff. And then the second day they normally started. But when I asked him, I said, why'd you get off your first trainer's truck? And here's the reason, and you probably ain't going to believe me because it's just really outlandish, but it's true story. It's exactly what he told me. His first trainer slept naked and wouldn't cover up. And his first trainer was coming on to him, or he felt his first trainer was coming on to him all the time, made him uncomfortable. So he was able to communicate it with his counselor, because over at Stevens, all the students got counselors. They're basically a contact between the student and the company that tracks their training progress. Or they did back then. I don't know if they do now anymore. But a student got in contact with his counselor. Counselor got him off the truck. And then he ended up coming on my truck and finishing his training. At first, I just didn't know, maybe he jumped off the truck, he didn't like his trainer. But I really believed that what he was saying was true, because as I got to know him, he was a normal cat. You know, I never had any issues out of him at all. He was a good student. Picked up really well. He was clean, you know, ready to get a shower every time it was shower time. You know, the biggest part of training that you have usually is egos. And he was real laid back. We didn't have an ego clash or nothing. I lost contact with him over the years, but we were friends for a long time after that. Really good dude. I don't think he drives anymore, because normally when I lose contact with them, it's because they've got out of driving, they go on to do something else with their life. But this is something these companies need to take into consideration, especially the ones that force teaming, Covenant, CRST, there's a few others. And if you're a driver that's thinking of teaming, this is something you probably want to take into consideration too. Might be a good idea to go already with a team partner rather than letting the company pick you a team partner. You know, and I don't think they do co-ed. Like, I've known a couple people that went to not CRST, but Covenant, and males got male partners, females got female partners. So, I mean, it ain't like you're going to go find a future wife. So, I mean, you're going to be in there with another dude. So it's something you might want to really think about if you're considering going down that road, if you're considering training as an option. Okay? It's serious. If you're considering teaming as an option, you may want to consider these things as well. Myself, I've always ran solo, other than when I was a trainer. And I didn't mind being a trainer because even if I had a student that I didn't get along with or didn't click with, I just toughed it out. It was going to be over within a few weeks. And I'd have a different guy on the truck or girl, because I trained both as a trainer. So that would be that. And not to make you guys feel bad, but I got to be honest. The girls were always easier to train than the males. The girls also used to catch on faster than the men did. Don't know why. Don't know if that was just my experience with the trainees I had. But the women were easier to train. They normally caught on faster and tended to be better drivers. A little more courteous and stuff like that. So, I mean, I never really minded training females. The only thing about training females that used to make me nervous is the fact that, well, it's a female. You got to be real careful what you do. So I didn't tell any offhanded jokes, even if they seemed real friendly. I still never told any offhanded jokes. I never let it go that way. I kept it professional all the time. Also, every night we parked in a truck stop, no matter what time we had to park, to get parked, to make sure we were going to be in a spot in a truck stop. And I always had them call the office every day and update their counselor as to how training was going. That was actually to protect me. Because let's say they go in, and then they say, well, we had this problem, or he did this, or he did that. Well, they could always relay back, because every single day I had the trainee call in. Normally students only had to call in once a week, I believe. But with females, I always had them call in every single day and check in. But anyway, this video is getting long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. But I hope y'all are having a great day, staying out of trouble, staying safe. Remember to be good to one another. We are all family out here, even if we are a bit dysfunctional. I appreciate all of you that stopped by and watched my channel. And look forward to seeing you next time. Old Snapper, I'm out.